After the morning after a bombastic weekend of sport, loads to talk about, but the Kevin Keegan news has really dominated the headlines, and rightly so. Joined this morning, as always, by Enda Coll. Enda, good morning.
Morning, Colm.
Dara Smith-Naughton is here too.
Colm.
And for the first time this week, Matthew Brennan. Morning, lads. How are you? Are you well? Very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, very sad. Came very quickly as well. I know this news came out a couple of months ago, and then a couple of weeks ago, very suddenly, it came out that it was going to happen quite soon. So it's not an unexpected news, but it is still very sad, and it's a very big loss to the football community. I think Kevin Keegan is someone, regardless of your generation, is someone that is associated with being a football guy and a football man, and someone who was around at the top level for a very, very long time, both as a footballer and as a manager, and somebody who's widely spoken about as like not so much a gentleman on the pitch as a player, but very much a gentleman off the pitch, and someone who is respected widely by everyone who came across him. So very, very sad loss.
Yeah. Talk about maximising your life, what you had of it. You know, 75 is relatively young these days, but he did an awful lot. Like, I was just reading up in the beginning last night to remind you, because I don't know, like we're all in different stages of life, but he's a quintessential part of my childhood. Like, I remember Kevin Keegan, the manager at Newcastle, and I loved that team. That one in 1995-96, there were 12 points ahead that I would love to rant. Even throughout that time at Newcastle, when they sold Enda Coll to Manchester United, I don't know if you've ever seen that clip, and he's on the steps at James's Park, and he's explaining to fans why he sold them. And he was like, don't worry, we have people coming through. They brought in Les Ferdinand. And then in the summer of 96, after the Euros, they signed Alan Shearer. And he does this amazing speech in the press conference talking about how much it means to bring back a hometown hero. And he's like, all the money that you're investing as fans, this is what it's going into. It's like a rousing response. And then Shearer speaks. He just had something about him. But he released a single. He was in the show Superstars. His Liverpool's first European Cup was won with him up front. He was Germany's highest paid player. Ballon d'Or consecutively. Dara, as you reminded us this morning, came second the year before he won it for the first time.
Crazy, like.
Amazing. The Newcastle promotion when he got the job as manager, and then contending for the Premier League title. And when he retired from playing in Newcastle, he got a helicopter out of the pitch. He was a man of theatrics and fame. If you look at the European Cup at Liverpool, he had the sunglasses on in the final shirt.
Yeah.
At the same time, he was kind of humble. I don't know what your memories are of him.
Yeah, it's a strange one, because I think you hit the nail on the head there with the you said there he had something about him. I think there was an intangible kind of draw, like in the lower to him, and as you say, like you would have been your childhood and remember that Newcastle team and all, would have been a bit before, I suppose, me existing, but like growing up, I think I'm 22 now, so I mean, imagine people of my age would have had a similar sort of experience growing up watching, I hope this doesn't come across in the wrong way, but like watching Premier League years on Sky Sports and getting to see football from so long ago, and like Kevin Keegan even as a player, and then into being a manager, and he is the face of that for me. Like when I think about watching that growing up, he is the first person that I think of, and the post-match interviews and watching him on the line, and that kind of I don't know, is rivalry a fair way to put it, but just when you think about that era, Manchester United as well with Sir Alex, it's like he's the main protagonist in a weird sort of way. So he definitely, I'll go back to what I said at the start, but he absolutely had something about him, and he's someone as well that, despite not being in the limelight in the same way a lot of people of that vintage have been in the last couple of years, he's still someone that would constantly kind of be on your mind. And it's easy to say that now, I suppose, when this has happened, but he definitely is someone that is cross generations as far as being a character, outside of being an absolutely unbelievable footballer and a fairly successful manager too. I mean, he's left his imprint absolutely everywhere he's been.
There's I was only, funny enough, just thinking about this exact moment here for people who are watching on YouTube this morning. It's Keegan strangling Alex Ferguson. That's the summer of 1996. That's really a matter of weeks after I Would Love It rant. That's when they threw the league away and Man United won it. And that was Kevin Keegan in a nutshell. Like, he would move on very quickly from any dispute he had.
That's what I mean when I said, like, I don't know is rivalry the right word, because it's it's
in the moment.
It's a footballing
moment
thing,
of passion, and then he's back to being Kevin Keegan.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because Match a similar age to you, so my abiding memory of him was the I Love It rant, watching Premier League years 95, 96 back in the day.
Yeah.
But it's such a disservice to him and his career, because as a Man United fan, I watched that being like, you know, watching that rant, like Alex Ferguson's gotten in his head here. But you went through his playing career there. I listened to it was a lovely tribute that Liverpool put out on their socials yesterday, and it's him narrating his entire career, and he talks about coming from Scunthorpe and Bill Shankly offering him, I think, £40 a week or something crazy, which is like £700 in today's terms. And I suppose over the years you just learn a bit more about the people through speaking to people like yourself, Colm, or people in this office that would have, you know, seen him play or seen him manage when he was doing that. And he's just an absolute legend and a trailblazer in many cases as well. You know, going to Hamburg, winning his 2 Ballon d'Ors, not something that was too common at the time. Like you said, being the highest paid player in Germany, and yeah, he just lived a few lives, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he worked for it too. Like, this was, you know, Kenny Dalglish replaced him at Liverpool as a player, and then he went on to replace him at Newcastle as a manager, dramatically in 1997. But Keegan himself said, there's a really interesting interview of him floating around from yesterday. It's like he was probably the most limited player to win the Ballon d'Or, and he won it back to back because he had to work at his craft massively. He had to really maximise everything that he possibly could. So, like, it's a clunky old comparison, but I suppose he was Ronaldo to Dalglish's Messi, in that he just worked in it all day long. But he maximised everything, as I said. Like, from Scunthorpe to Liverpool was a big old gamble, I suppose, for Liverpool. I mean, if it didn't work out, fair enough, whatever. But like, they hadn't won a league in a long time when he joined.
It was 1965, 66
and
was the last one.
They went several with him there, and himself and John Tashuk up front. Unbelievable partnership. Great header of the ball for a man who was relatively small. He's about 5'7" or something.
Amazing mullet as well.
Oh yeah, incredible, unbelievable shape.
Incredible shape
for his time.
Like, if you look back at some of the colour interviews of him back then, his biceps are really popping. Like, he was in incredible shape, and I do think he represents a standard and level of footballer back then that probably doesn't get the credit they deserve for the shape that they were in. I mean, there's this almost falsity of modern football analysis that everything back then was slow and they were pretty much amateur footballers and they were only fit for their time. But like, there's people like Kevin Keegan, like, you look at him on a pitch and you look at the shape that he was in, and he was a professional athlete in the realest terms. And I was looking through some of his training regime. Like, he would work off the pitch outside of training. Like, there's stories of him grabbing dumbbells and doing laps of stairs straight after training to get even more cardio. And like, it just goes to show, like, it pays off. Like, when he went to Liverpool, they hadn't won a title since 65. He goes there 71. They win 3 league titles, a European Cup, 2 Super Cups, and an FA Cup. And then he goes to Hamburg, who had never won a Bundesliga title at the time. He goes there in 77, and they win the Bundesliga title in 77, 78, and 79. He wins 2 Ballon d'Ors. And he sort of brings that into management as well. Like, his management career is exceptional. He has an exceptional record, and he clearly had a wonderful football mind as well. But one thing that is interesting about him is that, like, a lot of people mention George Best in terms of like modern day footballers. Who created the modern day footballer? And George Best was like this first celebrity footballer, and he was a trailblazer. But Kevin Keegan was a real trailblazer, and I'll bring you some clips with Johnny Giles now in a second. But Johnny Giles credits Kevin Keegan with fixing football to put the power in the hands of the players, because when he left Liverpool, that wasn't something that was normal. He had a release clause inserted into his contract that allowed him to leave Liverpool, because at the time, when you signed a contract with a club, you were essentially signing a lifetime contract. Like, you had to wait for a club to buy you out of that, and it was at the club's discretion whether or not that you would leave. But he was managed by a guy called Harry Swales, who went on to manage Ryan Giggs as well. And he got this release clause put into his contract that if somebody pays 500 grand for him, away you go. Off he went. It wasn't popular with Liverpool. The Liverpool chairman at the time cursed him out of it for his final year. He told Liverpool he was going to leave, but he was like discarded by the club. His wages then increases from 12,000 to 250,000 a year. From Liverpool to Hamburg. That's the difference. That's the change that he makes. So, like, and at one stage he speaks about getting a phone call to go to Saudi Arabia, and he said he would go for £1 million a year. Bring me back at Christmas. So, and sorry, one more thing on the Hamburg contract. He gets a face deal put into his contract. One of the first players ever, potentially the first footballer ever to have his own imaging rights, control those. So then he starts doing merchandising. So he changes the world of football in a very, very real way for footballers to put power in their hands. Because like we're talking about an era here where, like, in the build up to the World Cup, you always get Jeff Hurst rolled out for the media when they're talking about the England team. That England team that won the '66 World Cup, they sold all their stuff because they were broke after football. And we hear about it all the time. You hear about like Nobby Stiles, loads of players of that era sold off all the stuff that they had because they went broke after football. Kevin Keegan changed that. So that's a real impact.
You talk about legacy as well. That's something that came up last week on the show. He's left a legacy. There's no disputing that. And that's one of the things. Is like he was probably the first player to really, really market himself outside of George Best, maybe, to really understand that he should be valued.
I see this trend online at the moment, right, of younger people saying the Beatles were overrated, right? They're listening back now for the first time, right? The Beatles were overrated, right?
I never said that.
It's like
I quite like the Beatles, actually.
You like, a lot of people saying it like me. But I was thinking, well, because they, everyone kind of sounds like them now, right? But it was like at the time, the Beatles were insane, like that was like unbelievable. And
People couldn't believe what they were hearing.
Kevin Keegan's conditioning and his ability to market himself was not common at all at the time. Now you look back, he was a famous footballer and whatever, but like he was kind of a self-employed business person and a footballer. And Phil Thompson was on with the lads last night on the news route, and he talked about that, like that nobody had an agent.
Yeah. He was flying private jets.
And at the same time,
over and back. His family, when he lived in Hamburg, his family lived in England, and he was flying over and back. That never happened.
Never a thing. And at the same time, like, not a great environmentalist. Kevin Keegan. But that wasn't a thing at the time. And at the same time, private jet, right? And again, if you look at him after the European Cup win, like the shirt, the sunglasses, he's carrying himself like a superstar. People talk about his humility all the time. The way that thing there where the incident where they sell Enda Coll and he takes to the steps just to explain it to the Newcastle fans. Now cynically it's always been performative, whatever, because cameras are there. But he literally takes time to talk to them. It's like Mike Bassett, the manager, when he listens to the fans outside the bus, and then he's like, fuck off. And then Kevin Keegan's just listening, was like, I hear you, I hear why you did it, but trust me, this is why I did it. And he was nearly vindicated by selling Enda Coll, because they should have won the league.
They should have.
Sorry,
Matthew, go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry, I just triggered a memory there. A comment there, Aaron Mack is saying the man brought Peter Schmeichel to Manchester City. That's got to be a testament to his personality when you'd forever taint your United legacy to play for him. Now, there's obviously a few different factors in there, that Peter Schmeichel didn't leave United on the best of terms and all that sort of stuff, but I actually watched a documentary that Schmeichel did. It was one of the Sky Sports ones there a couple of weeks or months ago, and it was like I remember they were talking about he had like a 20-minute conversation with Keegan, and I'd say that's something that has translated across, like, when you were saying he's standing on the steps and he's saying we've got all these players coming and we're going to do this, that and the other, and I'm sure one of the reasons, money aside, that the players came was because there was someone like this who obviously had such an effect on people that I'll go and play for him, I want to play for him. And then even David Holton says in the comments there that that the reason he started following Newcastle was because of Kevin Keegan. Like, and when you talk about legacy, like there's the legacy in itself. When in an era now where kids today look at players and they look at like Ronaldo and they look at Messi and they look at whoever and they say, I'm going to follow him around, I'm going to follow that. When he goes and signs for another club, I'm going to support them, I'm going to follow the player. That's something that wasn't a thing back then. So when you've got a guy who is over a club and is having such a such a way about him that people are like, it's you, I want you, whatever you are, and then in turn you fall in love with the club and he moves on. That's how it goes. Like that's a legacy. That's a proper legacy.
Well, his life was a movie, like, because the way he left Newcastle just out of the blue, midway through the following year where they blew the league, 1996-97, he had just signed Alan Shearer. With Shearer and Big Les, they had hammered Man United 5-0 at St James's Park. Philippe Albert, one of the most glorious lobs you'll ever see on Schmeichel, and he leaves a couple of months later because of the dispute with the club. The way he left England, resigns in the shower at the old Wembley after losing to Germany, and it's pissing it down rain, and he has the tracksuit over his hand, and he's just, I'm not good enough to do this job anymore. There was a drama to him, but somehow a relatability at the same time. You have a few stuff.
I have a few bits. Yeah, so if you ever are stuck for something to watch, this 45-minute interview is available on YouTube. It's an interview with Brian Moore, who anything he touches is fantastic. And it's with Kevin Keegan when he was at Hamburg, and it covers a lot of his career and a lot of his feelings at the time, his feelings with England, learning the German language, searching for British cereal when he went over to Germany, and struggling to adjust initially, and with the team and with the language, with the culture. But this is at the very, very end where he talks about what's the end of his career going to look like, and it's very, very interesting. You'll see during this clip there's a short period where he's out in the balcony at Hamburg, and you'll see the star quality that he had in the city. But this is Kevin Keegan speaking to Brian Moore. I think this was back in '78.
I've no inclination at all to stay in football. I'd love to be a politician, I think. Really interests me. I'd love to have a little bit to do with with our destiny, really. These people have got so much power. And yet, at the same time, I think you would probably find when you got in there, I mean, I wouldn't like just to be a politician, I'd like to be Prime Minister. I wouldn't want to mess around with the little bits and bobs. I'd like to have the power, you know. I'm going to play till the '82 World Cup. My dream, I say. I've been lucky in life that most of my dreams have come true, and I hope this one does too. My dream is to, in 1982 in Spain, to win the World Cup for England, and go up there and lift the trophy up, and then say to the world, well, you know, thanks for what? It'll be 12 great years, but this is where I want to finish, while I'm at the top, and you can't get more at the top than that. That's my dream. I've been dead lucky, you know. Like when I come to Liverpool, my dream was to win the league. Then my dream was to play for England. Then my dream was to captain England. And then when I came to Hamburg, you know, although I never thought it possible, my dream was that Hamburg won the league here. Now my dream is that Hamburg win the European Cup next year. And my last dream is that England win the World Cup final. And I'd like to hold the trophy up, but that's not that important. You know, if I'm not skipper, I'm not skipper. But that is my dream. And if them dreams come off, then, you know, well, I'm probably one of the few people in the world that's had all the dreams come true. Well, nearly all of them, anyway.
It's brilliant. He doesn't achieve his dream at that World Cup, but, I mean, he did pretty much everything else.
He's so softly spoken.
It's the laid back.
Yeah, he's
couch.
literally lying down. It's amazing. Amazing insight. Like, just
I just sums up Keegan as I don't want to be a politician, I want to be Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that a little
All
bit.
the way to the top.
such a great line.
All the
isn't
way
it?
to the
That's
top.
Keegan in a nutshell, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I want the power.
It should be mentioned as well, and that he played in an era where, like, he's a small guy,
Yeah.
and it wasn't exactly an easy era of football to play in, and he was a phenomenal footballer. And these two clips we're going to bring you now is the famous punch between Kevin Keegan and John Giles. So we'll play the punch out first here. So this is in the Charity Shield between Leeds United and Liverpool, and our very own John Giles is heavily involved here.
Suspicious looking handball, but I think it hit hand rather than the other way. And that looked very much like a right hook by Johnny Giles. Keegan, the player, down. But up rather quickly.
That's amazing. Sorry, the fact the commentator shouts that looks like a right hook from Johnny Giles, as if it's like, you know, a sliding tackle. Something
Innocuous.
that happens very commonly. Yeah,
It was innocuous.
It depends how quickly he gets back up. I mean, we just watch Argentina.
I know, make
put on
great as
that
blush, wouldn't it?
absolutely outrageous display of whatever the hell that was. And I know it's just the era, that's the time it was, but you just got a right hook flush to the chin, and he's like,
A FIFA are launching an investigation with Argentina Spain. They'd shut football down after that.
I'll get back up. Would you believe that John Giles didn't even get booked for that?
yeah.
I would believe that probably, yeah.
In that match, it was 1974, Billy Bremner and Kevin Keegan also got sent off in the match.
Oh, wow.
Kevin Keegan punches Billy Bremner later on in the game. So they famously, they both take off their tops and throw them on the ground. But we did speak to John Giles about this a couple of times throughout his time with Off the Ball, and this clip that we're going to bring you is from his 80th birthday. We threw a bash for Johnny here in the studio, and we surprised him with Kevin Keegan on the line, and the punch comes up.
Coming back to the Wembley thing, I seem to remember you punching me. And I think it was Bob Matthewson was the referee.
No, you were right. I did punch you. But can you remember what happened before that? Can you remember the
I can't remember what happened after you punched me. I can't remember too much. But
but let's go back on it. It didn't happen by accident. You had a terrible tackle on Norman Hunter. You had a terrible tackle on Billy Bremner. The ball broke loose, and you're all over me. And I let you go past, and I did punch. I should have gone off. No doubt. I'm not trying to make excuses for it. Who's the referee, Kevin?
Bob Matthewson.
Yes. Well, I always got on well with him. And when you were on the ground, I'm apologising to Matt and say, sorry about that, I didn't mean it. And he let me off. There's no doubt I should have gone off.
When you hit me, he said, he's so friendly with you, he said to me, don't do that to him again. And you hit me.
Yeah.
Bob Matthewson.
Kevin, can I just say, in the controversy overall, when you were sent off, along with Billy, you took your jersey off and threw it on the ground, and so did Billy. Right? You remember that, don't you?
Yeah, I remember that. It was a lovely hot day.
No, all I'm saying is that had nothing to do with me, because anytime I played at Liverpool afterwards, I got unbelievable stick for that particular incident with you, quite rightly as well.
I forgot how amazing that is.
It's so good.
Why is he talking about like it happened last week?
That's what I'm saying. It's like as if he's brought it up to say you're going to get a retrospective ban here. You're not going to be able to play at the weekend. Hold
on, you started it.
Yeah. That had nothing to do with me. When Dermot Keenan points out that they got 10 game bans off the back of that because they took their tops off. Bremner and Keegan.
That's so funny.
That's amazing. That the child's so defensive. Like
I watched that a couple of times this morning when I was putting it together, and I laughed each and every time John Giles goes, yeah, I did punch you. I did. There's also, before we had on, we did have Jazzy on like a couple of months before that in studio talking about that, and he goes into it in detail. It's well worth your listen and your watch if you want to go back and see it. It's on the Off the Ball YouTube.
Obviously dominating the headlines this morning. It's actually the front page of the Irish Examiner. It's just a picture of Kevin Keegan with the 1977 European Cup.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Back page of the Times UK, a truly great player, a truly inspirational person, which is a pretty good summary of him. Only one Kevin Keegan. At the back of the Mirror Sport, they're posing in his Liverpool kit. King Kev, football in morning as game bids farewell to iconic Keegan. The back of the Irish Daily Star Sports section. All-time greats on sport. Sorrow as game mourns a hero. And then a lovely picture, black and white. The same one actually that the Irish Examiner went with. 1977 European Cup in the eye. Kevin Keegan, 1951 to 2026. Two-time Ballon d'Or winning former England captain and manager who won European Cup with Liverpool, dies age 75. And just one more actually. The Irish Daily Mail. Kevin Keegan. There was no legal way of stopping it.
That's brilliant. That's a great line. That's where Giles just encapsulated that, didn't he?
Yeah, I have so many members. I might want to say it as him slumped over in that 4-3, iconic 4-3 in April 1986 in Anfield. There's just something boarding. I just love that when he slumped over. I just know why. There's something about it. And he looks at, I think it's Terry McDermott to his left. That might have been the time that Mark Lawrenson was on his coaching staff, actually, because we'll speak with Laro later about it live on the show. I just love that when he's slumping. There was just something so honest about him for such a high achiever. It's so
emotional, but so relatably emotional. Like it's proper.
I just love it. I must go back. I'm probably going to go down an old trip there now later on. I can't believe that's all 30 years ago. Like bang on 30 years since he did the I Love It. He passes away.
The Ballon d'Or is mentioned a few times in the papers there, just to kind of put that into perspective a little bit. It's easy to kind of get muddled up with the eras and like who was around at that time, but I was just going through obviously the years that he's won it here in 78 and 79 and just a few years before. So like 1974 Johan Cruyff wins it, 1973 Cruyff wins it, 72 Franz Beckenbauer wins it, 76 Beckenbauer wins it. He comes second in 1977 and in third place is Michel Platini. You know, you've got Karl-Heinz Rummenigge winning back to back in 80 and 81. You've got Paolo Rossi in 82. Like, these are some of the greatest players that have ever existed, and he's right in amongst it, ahead of most of them across these years. Like, you know, it's the Ballon d'Or is one of these things that I think only really properly became a thing, you know, that people took real appreciation for in the Messi Ronaldo kind of eras. But
definitely.
But
Michael Owen got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so it's I think it's just important to highlight who's around at those times. Like, you know, it's mad.
I think at the time he was only one of the first people to win back-to-back.
Yeah.
Alfredo Di Stefano and Beckenbauer might have done it.
It's funny.
Yeah, Steve went through it last night, I think, in the news round. Yeah, it's a crazy list. I look back in his England tenure, it's kind of fondness of it, because he took over from Glenn Hoddle, of course, who left very controversially. He was only there a year and a half or just over. Euro 2000. It's never really worked out for him. Like, they had that Portugal game. Luis Figo scores a cracker from way out. I think they're 2-0 up in that game. It's 2-2. Maybe Portugal wins 3-2. Anyway, it's not a great tournament. And the way he just walks away from the England job, no one forced them out. They lost to Germany. I think it was the last game at the old Wembley, and it was bucking it down in rain. Our own Didi Hamann got the winning goal. It was a free that David Seaman should have saved, and then Keegan says, I can't do the job anymore. I think he got the England job off managing Fulham. And I have no recollection of his stint at Fulham at all. And when Man City, he brings them up and they score over 100 goals.
Yeah.
Gets them into Europe for the first time in 24 years in the Premier League. Newcastle were flirting with relegation to the third tier of English football when he took over. Brings them up. So he's this great player who goes from Scunthorpe all the way to the top, wins everything in the game at club level, scores, 20 odd goals in 60 odd games for England?
21 goals in 63 caps, which doesn't feel like a lot of caps for a player of his stature.
And in management, he peaks with bringing sides up to the Premier League. Should have won the Premier League, but still achieved all that. And yet my abiding memory of it slumped over.
Yeah,
just love it.
I was reading there, he's been promoted as champions with 3 different clubs. The 3 different clubs he managed, he got promoted.
Amazing.
So what's to say about him? This power of motivation to get the most out of people.
Yeah.
That's like he was himself. Something else, keep your tributes coming into Kevin Keegan. Will read out as many as possible throughout the show. In the meantime, it's 7:58 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. Should we do a bit more on the World Cup? That was the plan today, actually, talk about the World Cup.
That was the plan,
I have a few edits to make, actually. I was corrected yesterday, rightly so, that I said that it was the first 0-0 World Cup final since 94. I've been corrected 2010 and 2014 back-to-back. I mean, give me a break. I have a newborn at home. I have a toddler too. Sleep is an old friend I used to know. You know, it's going to happen a lot, right? I got this stat as well, right? From, where did this come from? The FIFA website. How about this, right?
Oh.
The top scorers at the World Cup this year.
Yeah.
France and England. Most conceded, team with the most conceded, England. Tunisia and Iraq.
Yeah,
England's defence.
That's a damning indictment on Tunisia and Iraq, considering they played 3 games.
They're on -11 and -10 goal difference, respectively.
Yeah, it was
my sweepstakes. Yeah.
The England defence, I suppose they did concede 4 against France in the third place playoff.
They did. And they scored 6, you know. So, yeah. And you were talking about even all the talent behind. They did score a lot of goals, England.
Well, sure, all of their goals really were up until, I suppose, Gordon and Rashford got 1 each, didn't they? And outside of that was Bellingham and Kane, who got, was it 7 and 6 apiece or 8 and 6 apiece? So you're heavily reliant on players. Now, there's nothing totally wrong with that, I suppose. But when you're, it's not a plan.
Do you think, right, that Tuchel managed Bellingham very well? Because he pissed him right off. Remember before the first game? Do you remember before the Croatia match? It was like there was a call for you to make Thomas when he was interviewed pre-match. Was it going to be Rodgers or Bellingham? And I was like, I just shaded for Bellingham, and that was not an absurd conversation to have at the time. And weeks later, it was like, geez, without Jude Bellingham, England would have been screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible to tell whether it was on purpose or not.
That's the thing. Like, it's worked out well, so you have to credit him for that. But you know, in the same breath, it might not have worked out well. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do think, and I said this at the time when Bellingham came out after the game, and he was obviously asked about what Tuchel had said, and obviously whatever. Granted, he hadn't heard exactly what Tuchel had said about them not playing particularly well. I didn't think at the time that was Tuchel trying to get saying that because he knew that Bellingham would take it a certain way and, you know, use it as fuel to go and play well. I'm not.
Maybe they just don't like each other.
I'm not having a bar. I don't think they like each other. Yeah, but that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. You know.
I was just thinking about that yesterday. You know.
Yeah. Do you think they've underachieved? Because I have a feeling that they actually
no, not really,
did as good as they probably should.
They remind me of the Irish rugby team. They're about that.
Okay.
They're about like 4th or 5th best in the world, but there are better teams. And it's just because of the fortunes and riches of the Premier League. It's like, you think that they should win the Premier League. Yeah. It's not that simple. And their 2 best players don't play in the Premier League.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there shouldn't really be an expectation for them to make a World Cup final. They're not in the They're not in the top 2 nations in the world.
I just think it's resources that people think they should.
Yeah, and they're paying a foreign manager and extraordinary amount of money to come in. And
it's a weird one. They were close, obviously, but at the same time, sure, like who did they beat on the way?
Yeah,
there's nothing special.
Yeah, but then when you're reaching, see, this is the thing. Like when you're reaching European finals on a regular basis, you're reaching World Cup quarterfinals and semi-finals on a regular basis. There comes a point where you have to make that step, and them appointing Thomas Tuchel was the step that they thought they needed to make to get to the final and go that 1 or 2 steps.
A bit naive though. Like he hasn't managed an international football. Like, was he going to get to a World Cup in his first major tournament?
Well, I think maybe they hired him for tournament football because he gets PSG, doesn't he, to the 2020 Champions League final.
It's a completely different thing, though.
Wins it with Chelsea.
Wins it with Chelsea, the year after. So it's 2 finals in a row. So I guess they're trying to channel that spirit.
It'd be a very impressive feat for him to reach a World Cup final in his first major tournament.
That 2020 Champions League final was like a World Cup format because it was only one-off games. There was no 2 legs during COVID. I guess they're trying to channel something that happened before. But it's very hard to have a ready-made international manager.
Yeah,
they're difficult to acquire.
Is there an argument to be made that
exist.
They're not that
similar to the Man United Mourinho era, that Man United were just too late with it? They were too late with Mourinho. They got him at his worst possible stage, and there might be this idea, not because of where Tuchel's at in his career, but where this England squad is at, that they were too late with the Thomas Tuchel era because they wasted time with Gareth Southgate. They had the best possible England team under Southgate and didn't get over the line. Whether it was his fault, whether it was players' fault, probably somewhere in between. But does Thomas Tuchel take the team that Gareth Southgate had in 2022 to a World Cup title when they're all at their peak? There's an argument to be made. This squad is weaker now than it was in 2022.
That's by Tuchel's choice, though, in fairness. He's drafted a lot of those players.
And I think in 2022 as well, it's probably the one tournament that I wouldn't blame Southgate at all for, in that they went out to France and Harry Kane skied a penalty. I think he managed that game pretty well.
He did, yeah. Did you hear Southgate talk about the Euros 24 there recently? It was like even after the Dutch game when they won the semi-final, it was like he felt no joy because he knew the supporters wanted him gone.
Yeah.
The crack was done before the final even occurred. Yeah. And I just had an idea there. Do you want to pick your best 11 for World Cup?
You just had this idea. Well, it's funny. I had this idea yesterday, and I did pick my team, knowing that you would have this idea in your head.
Telepathy.
First, I should say that Off the Ball Breakfast is with Braeburn. Whether the Irish summer is a scorcher or serving up some summer showers, Braeburn Coffee has the perfect iced coffee, from refreshing iced mochas to iced lattes. Whatever the weather, Braeburn Coffee has you covered. Available exclusively at Applegreen. Made for your summer. So do you want to hear?
I hope you had
the team that made my summer.
A big pot of Braeburn before you made this team now, because you're liable to get a few coarse opinions from across the room and across the comments.
Across the room,
And that's absolutely fair. I'll take them all. I should say that one of my picks wasn't in my pick for the best players playing at the tournament when we did this earlier on with Shane Hannon at the start of the tournament. You'll know immediately because it's my number one choice. And it's my goalkeeper. Unai Simon is the goalkeeper of the tournament in my eyes. I actually felt that David Raya was probably the best goalkeeper at the World Cup in terms of talent. But he's a different type of goalkeeper than Unai Simon, and maybe David Raya, the style of goalkeeper he isn't suited to the way that Spain want their goalkeeper to play.
This is a question you don't have the answer to, Enda, but I'll ask you.
My favourite type.
How do you think David Raya receives that World Cup medal?
Well, given the videos of him scaling the goals and almost choking himself to death with his medal, I think he enjoyed it.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I think he enjoyed it.
When you don't play a second.
I think it's
for a goalkeeper.
I think it's different for a keeper, because keepers have this sort of like, they're a team, like they are the man that's in goal for a national team. You know, David Raya is Unai Simon, they are all the one. But I think when, like, for likes of Kobe Mainoo, if England had gone on to win it, it's a bit like, it's grand, like, you know. But it's also different if you're old, because if Jordan Henderson didn't play a minute and they go and win it, he's loving that, because it's like, this is the end of my career. David Raya is an interesting case study because he's in the middle of his career. But I think goalkeepers, they take a collective joy in one doing well. For the national team, for clubs it's different, I think.
You said this as a goalkeeper yourself.
Well,
you know this goalkeeper union, you know.
One of minor championship.
Zubamendi's first minutes in the World Cup was
in
the final, right? Big pang of Chris Baird. Do you remember him, the defender for Southampton? His first game for Southampton was the FA Cup final, 2003. There he was looking at the medal afterwards, like, this is class. So for Zubamendi, that's a good feeling. Your only minutes are in the final.
I'd
like to talk to a professional about that. What's that like?
That's an interesting
psychologically?
conversation. Yeah.
Roy Keane speaks about
Famously, Enda,
that, and
does not have any joy for that man.
no, and it's totally fair. Like, you can understand where he's coming from.
I think he's being absurd to himself.
I think he's just a actual
Look what he did in the
top
champ- look
level
what he did in the
mentality. Yeah. Anyway, Unai Simon, I thought he was phenomenal. New Manuel Neuer with his exploits outside of the goal, as opposed to actually like making any real saves. You would say.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
He did most of his defensive work actually came like through his head or through his feet, as opposed to actually being a goalkeeper. They conceded 1 goal throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
Can you remember who scored it?
Charles de Ketelera, however you
There
say
we go.
his name. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I saw John Duggan had a tweet up last night about it. Went viral, asking who scored the goal.
Yep.
People, to be fair, weirdly enough, were replying but not spoiling it. Just
I won't lie to you.
complimenting how good of a question it was.
I did steal that question from JD just there. Now.
There you go.
All right, my back four. I've gone for a 4-2-3-1 just to keep it simple. Gone for Pedro Porro at right back.
Okay.
What a glow up the guy's had.
Yeah.
You'd have to have paid me an obscene amount of money to predict that Pedro Porro would be in my team of the tournament for the right back, but he was phenomenal. He was really, really good.
It was.
Kubarsi is the first of my centre back.
Yeah.
Also brilliant, fantastic clearance in the final as well.
Yeah, the ball came across. I can't
yeah.
remember who was actually coming in. It was Senesi. It was Senesi.
Senesi
actually,
coming in, yeah.
weirdly coming in behind him. Yeah, that was a brilliant clearance. He got young player of the tournament actually as well, Kubarsi. So.
Then we have, I didn't go for the full Spain defence, which I could have, but I went for Lisandro Martinez as the other centre back.
Ooh.
People will look back on this Argentina team with disdain because of the final, but let's not forget they got to the final. Like, they are a really good team, and they disgraced themselves in the final, but defensively they were solid. Martinez was really solid throughout. He got injured in the final, but
are you putting
barely put a foot wrong.
Are you putting him in there as, you know, a left-sided centre half because he's left-footed, or do you think he was better than Christian Romero?
I think he was better than Christian Romero.
Okay,
Romero was very good.
Yeah.
There might be a little bit of bias in my head coming in with that left-footedness.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't have too much of an issue. I think Argentina got to the final. You're going to have a player or two in there.
Yeah.
I would have gone for Romero myself, but I think Martinez is justifiable. It is pretty mad that they finished the game without both of their starting centre halves. To be fair to them,
It is, and it was thinking back on the game, and I was wondering why Lisandro Martinez, or not Lisandro, Lautaro Martinez didn't come off the bench. And it was probably because of that.
Yeah.
Like, they did bring Senesi off the bench, and that might impact them going forward with the inability to bring the other Martinez off the bench.
Yeah.
So then I do have worries with the left side of my defence with height, but I believe the aggression of these two players might work well. Mark Cucurella.
He's class. He's so good. So good.
Defensively, just so strong. And he was not fantastic at the tail end of the season there. Like, he got exposed multiple times. So really, like, surprising that he was so strong and so good defensively. Then in the midfield, we've got Rodri, player of the tournament, showing what he can do, showing why he is also a Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah.
That he was excellent. And then we've got Jude Bellingham.
Yep, hard to argue.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Do we think he played despite or to spite Thomas Tuchel?
I think he had a bit of a point to prove. I maybe off the back of his club season as well. I don't think he had the best club season.
Yeah, he was grand. Like, he didn't have as good a season he had the season prior. It's a hard question to answer. I'd say he just played well for himself and England.
All right.
No, I think Tuchel pushed him. I definitely think he pushed him. I think he didn't want to get him into his comfort zone and got a response from him. Jude Bellingham's he's a weird player.
Yeah, he is.
He's such a weird player to talk about. I mean, we talked with Graham Hunter about this, right? I had a bit of a back and forth with Graham Hunter. He was kind of like, you kind of need to see him play every week. I was like, I'm not going to see him play every week, but I see him in the Champions League, and I'm like, sometimes I just think the guy's completely anonymous. He just does nothing in particular, and then he'll single-handedly win you a game. And there's very few players that can do the latter part.
I think what really woke me up, because I would have had a similar sort of sentiment toward him, was the Mexico game. He was absolutely outrageous. One of the best individual performances I've seen in a long time, both offensively and defensively. Like, everything about what he did was remarkable. He was clearing balls off the line, he was making last stage tackles, he was scoring goals, he was winning the ball back, he was pressing, he played the entire game at altitude up front for a portion of it. He was absolutely ridiculous. So maybe I got a chance to see what Graham Hunter reckons he's doing every week with Real Madrid. But yeah, he's definitely worth his place in this team for sure.
It's a controversy-free team so far.
I think so. There might be an element of Jude Bellingham that he doesn't fit with modern football, in that, like, if you put him in the mid-2000s era, you might know exactly what he's about then, because we don't really have players like Jude Bellingham anymore.
Yeah.
Well, where would he play in mid-2000s?
In, like, kind of the 8 role, arriving late into the Frank Lampard
Zidane
style, or like Zidane is probably a better example. Yeah, like arriving late into the box, long marauding runs with the ball.
He's a unique profile, to be fair, because he's not a 6 and he's not a 10, and the bit in between doesn't properly exist, I don't think.
The Lampard comparison is definitely agree with it for the arriving late in the box, but Lampard was never dribbling with the ball the way that Bellingham does.
No, totally, yeah.
I haven't seen a centre mid dribble with the ball for England like that since probably Gaza.
He's so physically imposing as well, isn't he? He's a big lad too, I think.
He's a little bit beyond my period, but like when you see videos of Brian Robson is probably someone that you could maybe relate him to.
Yeah, I don't know if he was like that kind of talismanic figure. I don't know, it's a weird one. You saw his full ability against France in that final goal, where it's like, if he wants to, this guy can just dribble around you if he wants to.
Football.
I'm telling you, that game is a showcase of how actually talented all of these people are. They don't really care about what happens and do whatever they want. But he's a shocker. When everyone started talking and whispering, is Elise the best player in the world?
Yeah.
After the Sweden game, where he was through ball after through ball, couldn't help but hit a class pass.
Yeah.
Ever since people have said that, he's getting dispossessed left and right.
Yeah, he was god awful against Spain.
Got in his head.
He was god awful against Spain, and then the England game was just, he was the one playing the through balls. It was like on this occasion he was the one on the end of the through balls and just kind of didn't know what to do and just kept putting the ball wide. It was just weird to see a player of that standard. My mother was watching a game with me and she wouldn't have too much of an idea of who Michael Olise is, and
get him off.
She was like, "What's this fella doing on the pitch?" And I was like, "It's actually one of the best players in the world."
Cutting. That's real cutting.
Yeah,
when the mother said it's cutting.
Well, speaking of Michael Olise, he has not made the team for those exact reasons. I've gone for an interesting selection in this remainder of my midfield.
What's our formation?
The obvious ones: 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1.
The obvious ones have made it. So Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, the 2 top goal scorers at this World Cup.
Despite Messi's ghosting in the final, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
39-year-old who's played every minute of every game so far.
Have the same energy.
And then the last player I've gone for, I've thrown in a wild card because it's a bit of fun and nobody else really stood out as somebody who's like obviously needs to be in this team. I've gone for Julian Quinones from Mexico.
I like it.
I don't hate it at all.
Number 16. Was he the number 16?
Number 16.
Yeah.
The winger.
Yeah.
Scored 4 goals for Mexico.
Scored against England.
He was their best player.
Yeah, he was.
And he was somebody who would have been those old school players that we didn't really know too much about him coming into this tournament, but we would come out thinking, God, there's a player that'll play for Villarreal probably in the European Cup in a couple of years' time.
He scored like 40 goals over in Saudi Arabia last season. And
what's the quintessential club that signs a breakout player from a World Cup?
Hull, Watford.
Watford's great, yeah.
If in doubt, Watford's the answer, really, isn't it?
Watford have a unique ability to have like a brand new player in the starting 11 every week,
and nobody knows
where
who
they
he
get them
is.
from. How do they even get them?
And then sell
they're
them.
just like
Sell him to Everton for 50.
He's on loan at Udinese. Yeah. It's funny as well because obviously they only got to the last 16, went out to England, but you look at the other left. You look at the other left. I assume you've got him on the left hand side, do you? And that team, he's on the left, is he?
Yeah.
So you look at the teams who got really far into the tournament. You look at Spain and did Baena played out on the left, who didn't really set the world alight. Argentina didn't kind of have anyone doing that either, I'd argue. And then you're looking at France, and you've already got Mbappe in there. Elise, it's probably maybe it is Elise, but I think his form over when it really came down to the crunch is questionable. So I don't think there's any harm in it. Good to have a home nation player in there.
Yeah, it would have been Elise had it. Interesting enough, like Kylian Mbappe is the only French player in this team. Somebody in the comments is saying Robbo is saying Martinez over Saliba.
crying, laughing face.
Yeah.
As if to say, well, who's this guy?
Outrageous that I should include a player who got to the World Cup
can
final.
feel hard done by. Not that I put him in over
He got whipped
Rodri or
off a half
Bellingham.
time against Spain. To be
He was
fair.
very good throughout the tournament, though.
Yeah, he
He was
was
surprisingly good as well. A lot of people were writing him off before it started.
You know, I would agree to a point, but I think that's because you don't expect much from Rabiot. You'd kind of be like, oh, geez, he actually wasn't useless.
No, I thought he was good, though.
Yeah.
I thought he played well.
I don't think he was better than Bellingham or Rodri, though.
No, I wouldn't have him in over,
Yeah.
but he can feel a little bit hard done by maybe.
Saliba going off as well in the Spain game with that injury was a big loss for them too. So I can very much see a reason for having him in. Yeah, definitely. It's a good shout.
And then finally, to finish off the team up front, the robot, the star of the World Cup in the US, because he really did take off, Erling Haaland.
Yeah. Why is
We
that?
all know who he was. They didn't really know who he was. Now they do. And I think it's because so I don't know, do you watch his YouTube channel?
I don't. I just see clips now.
Yeah, so he
they're
blogs
great,
his
they're
way
great.
around, and he just had like amazing viral videos at the time. But also, he's someone that Americans love to compare athletes to athletes in terms of like the crossover in NFL and basketball. And they were looking at this guy and they were like, he could play NFL, basketball, football, and be an Olympic sprinter all in one. And he's also this weird, interesting character.
He's very
Like, who is he?
distinctive as well. Like he became a bit of a heartthrob in America online.
Has he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
along with Ferran Torres.
I know. I've seen the Ferran stuff.
Ferran stuff,
I haven't
yeah.
seen. I haven't seen
Ferran.
Haaland stuff though.
You know, he's willing to
Don't do that again.
sacrifice a headband so the locks will flow. Ferran Torres.
Yeah,
He doesn't mind taking out of his eye. It looks annoying for him,
I'm happy for him.
but he doesn't mind
I
it.
saw a few interviews floating around of Ferran with Pedri. I think it was when he's at Barcelona, and he was talking about, you know, no matter what Pedri does, they always praise him. But me, I can do no good and all this sort of stuff. And then
like it's recent as this season he was looked at as someone that just couldn't finish. Like a half decent player, you know, for Barcelona. He's good on the ball, but he's no end product.
I thought about confidence in his disallowed goal was very well taken.
he's looked like
101. That was after his first.
looks
Yeah.
like he's going to Paris Saint-Germain as well to replace
He's
Gonzalo
classic
Ramos. So
PSG.
it's such a good signing too if they do get it over.
Yeah,
I know people mentioned the Gavi situation after the match and
Yeah.
how his final would be tainted. That goal to win the World Cup final
Yeah.
is tainted forever because of everything that came in between before it and afterwards. People forget how that was an amazing World Cup final goal
Yeah.
to
Great
win
finish,
the
great
tournament
finish.
in extra time. Because of everything else, we will not remember it. Tim Nuttall is asking, what about the best 11 players outside of the finalists? Those lesser teams with the odd special player. I will put that together
One for
that's a-
tomorrow.
for later this week.
Bobby
Maybe
Boyer's back in
tomorrow.
the comments.
Maybe Friday.
Back
We don't want to
yesterday,
give up on the
yeah.
World Cup stuff too early, especially because we have 3 weeks to cover before the World Cup, before the Premier League kicks off again. So.
I had a word with Bobby D over the weekend.
Ah,
So
did
he's
you?
back.
He's
Yeah,
back
he's
now,
back.
okay.
We needed him back, you know. And
He settles
back.
your
He's
differences.
back. Yeah. There was no difference. He's glad to be back. Martinez wasn't even the best Argentinian centre half, and you have to have Jed Spencer left full.
he was very good.
He follows it up with
He
no
was England's.
Is Jed going to Everton?
DJ Ed.
DJ Ed.
They can't get rid of him. He's been too good. He's added a few. He's like, yeah, the tackle was amazing. I'm trying to. There's someone I had someone in my head there of who he reminds me of, but it's gone now out of my head for some reason. But Bobby also followed that up with no bias. I swear, obviously being a Spurs fan, but he was pretty good. But just Cucurella obviously wins the World Cup, and he was
Yeah,
brilliant, so
there's no debate there.
yeah, no.
Are you thinking of Wan-Bissaka? Because that's who he reminds me
Yeah,
of.
maybe it is Wan-Bissaka. Yeah,
Just that- that's just the
long
ability
limbs.
to
Long limbs,
make
yeah.
those tackles when you
Not
shouldn't be
long
able to.
ago that he was dropped by Neil Warnock
yes.
and was told he didn't have what it takes to be at the very top level. Gets
was
promoted then, doesn't he?
Yeah, there was exactly. Yeah, he was at Borough and then he went to Forest and then got promoted and then was like posting pictures and referencing what Warnock had said, and then Forest didn't want to pay the money for him or something, and then he went to Spurs. Something Forest were looking for they were looking for too much money or something like that. Yeah. That was a mad little. That was huge at the time because he was only really young then. He was like 20 or something. Yeah.
As we're in the World Cup aftermath, here Pico Lopez in the back of the Irish Independent. My job is a footballer. Everything else is just noise.
What's that in reference to?
Yeah.
The amount of attention that Pico Lopez is receiving now.
Oh, so we're now at the stage where we're like concentrating on Shamrock Rovers, Pico. Stop doing ads. Did you
Extremely Irish of us.
did you see his
I
ad
know.
for
The
see his ad
Currys.
for Currys?
It's so good.
That's a good one.
They're playing tonight, I think, are they?
Connect a bit, you know.
Armenian team.
And the final football story for now. How about this, right? The Italian Eve sounding out Pep. Pep Guardiola has held talks with the Italian Football Federation about taking over as a new boss. Paolo Maldini, do you know this? Do you know that Paolo Maldini is the new technical director?
That's only as of a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, his advisor, Leonardo, understood to have travelled to Barcelona to speak to the Catalan coach about becoming the new Italian manager. So he would no interest in managing Spain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What opens him up to a world of possibilities. He has previously spoken about his dream of managing Brazil, but sure, they're no good these days. Whereas Italy didn't qualify for the tournament, so it's a good job to get in terms of bringing them back to a tournament. And it was like, we'll start
Only way
again.
is up, yeah.
Would you take it if you were Pep? Or would you stay on football hiatus?
You know, if I was Pep, I'd let someone else take it for a little while. See how that goes. And
whenever you want to make the call, I'll do it now.
Yeah, I would, yeah. Because they're at such a low ebb. But then at the same time, you're getting in at the start of a new project with Maldini there and all that sort of stuff.
Have they ever had a non-Italian manager?
That's a smashing question. I would doubt it.
It'd be very un-Italian to have a foreign
He's
manager.
the only guy who breaks through that seal.
Yeah.
Don't know if he suits the Italian style of football, does he?
Really? Break it down there.
Listen, if they go.
Get the tactics board out.
Well, in terms of the tactical elements, he does, because he is at his heart a tactical, but defensively, I know he likes to be defensive by keeping the ball and being attacking. That goes against Italian principles of being defensive, solid first, and then figure out what you're going to do in attack. So
Yeah.
whether that has an impact or not, who knows?
Do Italy have the players to play like that anymore? I don't know.
He could make them.
Yeah, I'm sure they've.
He can make
Sorry,
them.
as in the old Italian way. I don't think they have the players to play
sorry,
like that.
I
I don't think they do anymore. So
Yeah.
it would
One
be-
maybe for Richard Fitzpatrick imminently. In the meantime, guys, thanks very much for that enjoyable conversation. Nice one.